Now for some solutions. Instead of building nice big jails, why don't we spend that money on our children so that they can have an avenue to maybe learn a different way? Then maybe these judges that didn't want to follow the law, instead of forcing me through so many courts, to constantly appeal and appeal and appeal and drive myself completely insane within a system that I already know is completely fucked. So, I would be insane to appeal a lot of court cases. It would drive me more insane, cause me more health problems, and ultimately at some point I have to ask the question, is there ever justice in this system that can't recognize justice yet? No. Kind of not insane, kind of left it at the area where, okay, I had to pay the deadbeat $100 in advance child support for the very child that lives with me, and while I'm on a social service, welfare has been paying and supporting this child. So make some logic sense out of how come a government is financially supporting a child and paying $100 a month child support to the father who doesn't even have the children living with him? So is the answer to put my husband in jail and build more jails? No. Wouldn't it be more financially accountable and responsible and build our country up if both parents were working? Both parents were doing something productive, and paying taxes? I would think that's the smart, intelligent way. Now, did he live in poverty as the level of poverty I lived in? No. Should he? Yeah. He needs to pay his debts. He should be letting go of some of that wealth that he has and be forced to live in the poverty that he wanted his children to live in until his debt is paid. But it's got to be reasonable so that he can still work and still function and still have some kind of pleasure in his life. Yeah, maybe given the choice, you either go to jail for the rest of your friggin' life or you live in a little bit of poverty until your debt is paid. Remember, between him and his new wife, they've claimed 3 bankruptcies. Not only are they still buying all the stuff, they're not paying their bills for their stuff or their child support. And who's paying that? Taxpayers. So you kind of have to put some form of education in there that kind of forces somebody to be financially responsible and accountable. And let him choose. Do I want to be in jail or not be in jail? Let him decide which path he wants to go on. But you have to give him an option, Then let's look at some of these big millionaire corporations that actually put fraudulent documents into our court case that was done. There's a $1 million company that lied about his income. They should be fined. I would get off a welfare system. I would fund new business that I can earn a living at and pay my income tax if I was given all of the money that was stolen from me. And shouldn't some of these people be fined and not go into the welfare system? Because yeah, if you ended up collecting child support, who gets it? The government. Stupid idea, because then you're still keeping me on a welfare system. Any money that's collected for child support, any back debt that's owed to me should go to me, which would go to funding me, supporting me in a different career. Obviously the stress has prevented me from using my arms. Clearly I can't function in just any job because the stress will irritate the physical injuries that I've worked so hard to cure without medication. So I need to be funded in an area where I know I can excel best. Only I know what I would excel best at. And only I know what kind of job I can do that would be my fullest potential. And if I'm earning a great income, the government's earning a great income. Where does all of this money come from? Well, let's try and get this deadbeat on a payment plan. Let's try getting some of these corporations that are lying and presenting false documents saying deadbeats aren't making any money. And let's look at some of these judges. They're pretty friggin' wealthy. There's no sense of responsibility or accountability for them to actually be socially responsible for the jobs they held. There's a long list of a lot of judges in Calgary that failed to enforce any child support laws. Each one of these judges that had a court case in front of them that decided to do nothing, that decided to not even pay attention to what's going on, because I'm not the only one. I know for a fact that it is a normal thing for a father to go into a court system without noticing the other party and wipe out all their child support debt. It's so friggin' common, but these judges think, oh, your wife didn't want to show up for court? Your wife didn't disagree with wiping out all of your back child support? Isn't that a little stupid for a judge to think that somebody wouldn't want to be in a court system to present their point of view? Any parent that's gone into a court system without the other party should be questioned. So in any case, any judge that looked at any of my cases that kind of made that assumption that I didn't want to be there should be fined. And that fine doesn't go to the government, it goes to me. It goes to supporting me to uplift my life, because all of the hell that was created on me should have a price that needs to be paid. And what does that price do? Not put me in more wealth so that I can sit and live the free and easy life. No, it should go towards uplifting my life, because there's been an awful lot done to decrease my life. And my kids are suffering. They need their education paid for. Somehow, some way, the damage that was done to my kids, they should be uplifted. So some of these funds should be provided in a way, and some of these judges should be held accountable for how they're enforcing any of these laws. If they knew they were going to get a fine, if these judges knew they would be fined for not following the law, then chances are they'll be more responsible, more accountable for actually doing a job that they're getting paid an awful lot of money to do. So, maybe we'll get rid of a lot of judges. And maybe some of the judges that are gone need to be gone. And maybe that'll open the door for a lot of other people who want to do well to actually do well. But frankly, our whole justice system is completely wrong. It's never going to find justice, because we're not recognizing that a judge is a judger, and a judge uses his perception of reality. If a judge perceives something not to be relevant from his wealthy mentality, anybody that's in poverty that kind of says, well, here's some evidence, kind of relevant, a judge won't even see that it's relevant, because he's basing his perception on what is relevant based on his own lifestyle. He cannot judge anything without having his life experiences sort of affect his decisions. So the way we need to set up any form of justice system is where all information is heard. You cannot find justice unless you hear all of the information. You have to hear the perceptions, the reality of every party. And then when you get all information, then you can see what is the real problem. And chances are, if you get two people in a room that are presenting all of the right information, you can find the motivation that's causing somebody to do what they're doing and question them. Is this something you really want to do? Do you really want to harm your kids by doing this? Chances are everybody is a good parent and wants to be a good parent. They just don't know how to be a good parent. But if they were in a setting where they can learn how to be a good parent and make their own decisions, then chances are we'll find justice just by having the conversation of what justice is. But crime, for the most part, is very much a learned experience. And, failure to enforce any laws is actually creating a criminal mindset. We are definitely teaching people that crime pays. So if crime pays, then and you need to feed yourself, then you're going to feed yourself in a criminal manner. And I have huge problems with our corporate world. Our corporate world is, and how we're teaching our kids to live is, your only value if you're making the most bucks. Get an education and try and manipulate other people to do all the work for you, and as a CEO you own all the profits, and you don't give any care to the guy that's actually doing the work for your product. So someplace, if you're going to be a CEO in someplace, then there should be some mentality, some training that's involved with, you have to value your employee. An employee that's valuable, that's getting paid, that their health is not getting injured by doing your work, they will be more productive. You'll produce more safe products, better products, if we start changing the way we do business. But right now, employees aren't valued. They're not getting the money that it takes to actually pay their bills. They're not giving a shit about their jobs, so the products are not, they're not giving a shit when they're building these products. I personally know firsthand that a lot of these safety institutions are being bought off and paid off I've personally seen unsafe car parts that got a safety approval. And why was it not safe? Because nobody was getting paid enough money. Nobody was being respected for the jobs. They were overworked, a lot of harassment in the workplace, and a lot of games being played. So a lot of our products that are buying are shit. So there's a few solutions. Let's think smarter. Canada could make some big changes, and maybe other countries will follow, and we can avoid this global depression that's coming if we were using our heads. Peace.